wonderful people of the internet, and some of you very, very horrible ones as well. I do apologise. Something stole my attention there. It was that when we first loaded up there, my laptop froze, and I was like, "This better be recording." And I'm also checking in the bottom right that the mic is on because I have recorded podcasts in the past where I've recorded a full one. Maybe if you listen to the last episode, it was a long one, but that was the second time I'd recorded it. And the first time I recorded it was a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, no, I cannot sit and try and replicate a very similar sort of emotionally invoking conversation straight off the bat. But the reason I had to record it again was because the mic wasn't connected, and I'm absolutely 100% making sure I can see the wee symbol in the bottom right that the mic is connected, and you guys can hear me well. So, episode 9, I believe. We're getting through these now. And with episode 9, another change in environment. Again, Kim's in today. So it means that I have been punted from the living room. No, I've not been punted from the living room. I just thought it's respectful to give other people in the house who live in the house the opportunity to chill in their living room when I have this space here. So I like this. Got a couch in the office, so I think this is probably where we'll do it from now on. But I literally said this in the last episode where I was laid out on the couch and it was dead relaxed. Although I'm dead relaxed here, that was where I was going to do it from now on. But no, I think this is the spot. And also, you'll notice if you're watching this on video. Again, we had this argument in the last podcast. Video, MP4, do people even call it that anymore? But if you're watching this, you can see me. We've got the door open as well because Raymond may very well make an appearance because he goes through spells. I don't know if anyone else's pets are like this or if anyone else's cats are like this, where they'll have a spot. They'll have loads of different spots, but they'll have a spot that they seem to lie in for absolutely ages, and then they'll rediscover an old spot that they used to like, and it's like they almost think to themselves, "Oh, I remember that I like this spot, so I'm going to start lying here." And one of those spots is this couch. So if you're watching this, he may very well make an appearance. I don't actually know how much of him you'll see him, if we see him coming here at all. Who knows? But my co-host may very well make an appearance. So hope this episode finds you really, really well. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast so far. I have been absolutely, like, I love this. I do really, really love this because it's different to social media, and that's kind of essentially what I'm going to get into today is fast-paced fitness, fast-paced content that just, when it comes to weight loss and fat loss, because obviously that's predominantly what I help people with, in a sense. But again, I'm going to use this episode to sort of expand on that a little bit as well. The podcast has been a very nice change of pace for me where I can just sit, I can just chat, and I can just speak my mind about whatever the fuck I want. So, with that being said, you'll have noticed that the episode title is titled "I Probably Shouldn't Say This," and it's not clickbait because I don't actually know if I should be saying this. Okay, and I don't really know if I should be saying this because this is predominantly what I help people with. But as an online fat loss and lifestyle transformation coach, I don't actually really give a fuck how much weight you lose. and what I'm going to do is, again, like I said, I'm going to use this episode to sort of expand on that and give you guys a little bit of an idea as to what it is I actually do. If I market myself as a fat loss coach and I don't actually give a fuck about it, what is it that I give a fuck about? But I'm going to double down on that, okay? And I'm going to double down on that I don't give a fuck about how much weight you lose. And I don't actually think you give a fuck about how much weight you lose either. And the reason that I say that is because with having worked in this industry for 9 years now, I have seen a lot of people who have tried to achieve the weight loss result that they want to achieve but failed, or have achieved the weight loss result that they've wanted to achieve and still been fucking miserable as a result. And that second one I can totally relate to. As someone who has done 4 photo shoots, as someone who has stepped on stage and competed in bodybuilding 3 times, I can absolutely 100% say, hand on heart, that there was not one of those photo shoots or one of those times where I stepped on stage where I was actually really happy. And don't get me wrong, did I feel amazing doing it? But absolutely 100%. In the fact that when I had set my mind to it and I went and achieved it, that felt really fucking good, because that reinforced in my mind and that reinforced in my head that regardless of how shite or challenging things get, if I set my mind to it, I can do this. And that's important. That's really, really important. But it wasn't the result. It wasn't how I looked that helped me feel that way. It was the process of getting to that point that helped me feel that way. And that's what's really, really important. And that's what I do as a lifestyle transformation coach. Because again, I have seen countless people set weight loss goals, fail to achieve those weight loss goals, first and foremost. Secondly, set weight loss goals, achieve those weight loss goals, and only ended up back in the same position that they were in back at the start because they were fucking miserable doing it. And I think people think that by setting a weight loss goal and trying to achieve it and achieving it, that they're going to feel better because they've lost weight. But let me tell you something, you don't actually feel better because you've lost weight. You feel better because of the process that it's taken you to get there. And when you don't put an emphasis on that journey, which I don't think many people do enough of, you forget that, or you don't appreciate that by the time you've achieved that result and sacked it off again, you've forgotten why it is that you've done it in the first place. And I think it's true that people don't actually truly give a fuck about how much weight they lose. They just want to feel better. They honestly just want to feel a lot more confident in themselves. They want to feel a lot surer in themselves. And what I do as a lifestyle transformation coach is, yes, do I help people drop body fat? Yes. Do I help people lose weight? Yes. But do I let them forget why it is that they're doing it in the first place? No, absolutely not. Do I let them not enjoy the process in the first place? Absolutely not. Like, my coaching program and the journey with my clients is probably I try to, and I'm sure that they would definitely vouch for me on this. If you've seen my Instagram, my social media, some of the messages that we share between clients and all these sorts of things, there's not one of them who doesn't enjoy the process of losing body fat, losing weight, because we put so much emphasis on enjoying the journey in the first place that it doesn't even feel like that's what they're doing. And that's what people miss. And that is what people don't put enough emphasis on. Because there'll be a lot of you listening to this who, I've said this in previous podcasts, who have been in a certain place with your weight loss and your fat loss where you've been trying for years, maybe even decades, to achieve the result that you want to achieve from a weight loss perspective, from a number perspective, and not put enough emphasis on how you actually feel doing the things that get you closer to that result. So then once you've got closer to that result, where you've actually achieved it or not achieved it, you don't know why it is that you're doing it in the fucking first place. So then you just end up way back at the start. And I think in all honesty, the fitness industry has a lot to answer for when it comes to this, because, and especially for women, which is who I predominantly help, social media putting a lot of emphasis on diet culture and scale weight specifically, that you are almost conditioned to think that by being a certain weight, you're going to be a certain level of happiness as well. And that's not fucking true at all. Like, again, I will double down on that and I will die on that hill that by you being a certain number on the scale does not determine how happy you're going to feel as a result. And I don't think that you know that before you set that as a goal for yourself. Now, here's the thing. Do not get me wrong. If you have a lot of weight to lose by losing body fat, by losing weight, does that put you in a healthier position than you were before you started? 1,000,000%. But does it mean that you're going to be happier as a result of that? That's not a guarantee. And I think it's that feeling there that I think it's that feeling of happiness, that contentment, that confidence, that ability to be able to open your wardrobe and pick out any item of clothing and know that you're going to fucking rock it. The ability to, because I work with a lot of parents, the ability to be able to, have you ever looked at your kids when they're playing and gone, God, I really wish I had that energy, because you see them playing all the time, you see them whizzing around, and you say to yourself, God, I really wish I had that energy, and it fills you with gratitude that they're as curious and they're as playful and they're as energetic as they are. I help parents, specifically women, bottle up that feeling so that they can be the person that they think that their child is, where they're full of energy, they're full of confidence, they're full of curiosity, and they feel like they can take on life. That feeling that you feel when you're watching your kids play, or you're seeing all the energy that they're giving out, I help you mirror that, and I help you replicate that. That's what I do as a coach, and that is not what you capture with scale weight. You don't capture that at all. And again, like I said, I think that's what people miss when they are setting themselves a scale weight target. And like I said, to kind of bring it back to the point that I was making about the fitness industry, I think fitness and health and exercise for decades. This is decades. This is not just the fitness industry that I am in as it is currently constructed, but this is decades where fitness and nutrition has been marketed and delivered in a way that it's focused around scale weight specifically. So then what you do is you get conditioned by that, and you get caught up in the delivery of that, thinking that I'm doing these things to lose weight and nothing else. When in actual fact, it gives you so much more than that. Like when you wake up, maybe feel a little bit lethargic, you get yourself to the gym and you hit a good workout, how much better you feel as a result of doing that. Or whether if you work a 9-to-5 job and you've been cooped up all day and you decide, you know what, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to get some fresh air, I'm going to take in nature a little bit. I'm going to take myself out of that mundane, boring environment that I've been in all day, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. You feel a little bit better as a result of doing that. And that feeling there that you feel when you're in those moments is what we're focusing on. Because it's those moments there that are inevitably what's going to keep you wanting to keep showing up. Because that feeling there is what makes it worth it, is what makes wanting to achieve that scale weight, that number on the scale, so much more worth it, and is what's going to inevitably keep you consistent with wanting to sustain that result long term as well, not just the number itself. Because at the moment, I think the fitness industry is very sort of, I believe you are what you consume, you are what you absorb on a daily. And I think the fitness industry is, particularly on social media, is all focused around sort of photo shoots, stepping on stage, being as lean as you possibly can, and all these very sort of superficial things, which, again, not dissing anyone who decides that they want to go and do that, but hand on heart, no one gives a fuck about whether or not you did a photo shoot. No one gives a fuck about whether or not you stepped on stage. People give a fuck about how it made you feel and how that's changed your life long term. Because again, as someone who has stepped on stage 3 times and competed, as someone who's done 4 photo shoots, someone's dieted themselves down to a point where he's pretty much inside out, I didn't feel any happier as a result. I felt great. I felt great again that I set my mind to that, and I decided that that's what I was going to do, and I set out and did it. That's important. But inevitably, people don't give a fuck about whether or not I stepped on stage. It's impressive. Cool. Nobody gives a fuck about whether or not I stood in front of a camera and posed for a day. People want to know how that then affects you and how that impacts your life on a deeper level long term. Because again, no one gives a fuck about your photo shoot. No one gives a fuck about your shows or anything like that. I will also go one further and say 95% of the people who do that feel fucking horrible afterwards because the goal no longer exists, which means the routine that they were in to help them achieve the goal no longer exists. And then 3, because that doesn't exist, they end up back where they first started. I'm willing to bet 95% of people who step on stage, do a photo shoot, all of these super mega fucking impressive things that you see people doing from a weight loss and fat loss perspective, end up back where they were at the start. So as impressive as it was for the coach to be able to post their client doing a photo shoot, as impressive as it was for the coach to be able to post a picture of their client on show day, what's that done for the client? What's that done for the person? Because 95% end up back where they first started. And I don't do that. I don't do that as a coach. I can't do that as a coach. And I think the fitness industry definitely has to be a lot better in marketing what fitness and nutrition is truly about. But it's also hard because that sort of stuff, although I truly believe that's what people want to feel and that's what people want to sustain long term, it's not what people want to see. And so it becomes hard as a coach who coaches feelings, who coaches emotions, who coaches journeys, to get people to understand that that is actually what it is that you want. Something that isn't really measurable, but it's something that inside you can feel, and something that inside you wish that you could bottle up and be able to lean into whenever you're having a shite day, or whenever work's challenging you, or whenever there's a relationship that's rocky, or a friendship that's rocky, or whenever you're just not in the mood that day. You want to be able to lean into that feeling that you're this confident, ambitious, worthy person of everything that you've ever wanted to achieve from a life perspective. I'm not just talking fitness, and I'm not just talking nutrition, I'm not just talking a number on a scale. Like, if you are listening to this who's tired of feeling like they're run down and they're busy and they've got no time and they don't dedicate anything to themselves, I want to sit here and say that you're worthy and capable of so much more than life has given you. You're just focusing your efforts on the wrong things. You're in the ballpark, you're in and around it, but you're focusing on the wrong things. And like I said, scale weight is one of them, and the fitness industry has fucking let you down in that sense. Trust me, it's not a number on a scale that you truly give a fuck about. It's the feelings that journey gives you that's the key long term to the result that you want. And like I said, as someone who's competed, stepped in front of camera, done photo shoots, etc., etc., I can absolutely tell you that it's true. I don't know if some of you've seen, but excuse me, see, when I talk too much, I get like at the back of my nose, like it's like it gets blocked. So I have to, maybe see me do it in a couple of podcasts, but I have to lean away and sort of clear my nose a little bit. I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. Do we have any nose specialists? listening to this podcast who can tell me what that is. I digressed there, and I threw myself off my flow. That was it. So I actually late last year I was training for a photo shoot myself, and I'd lost about 5 kilos, and I was well on my way. I was about halfway through my prep at that point, and I literally went, why the fuck am I doing this? Why the fuck am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this for? I've done this 4 times already. I've stepped on stage 3 times already. Why am I doing this again? And literally, what I had in my head was that I had to be showing, I had to be showing up as the guy who knew everything about fat loss, who was practicing what he preached. But at that moment in time, I wasn't. I was doing what it was that I needed to do, but I wasn't actually enjoying training all that much. I wasn't actually enjoying going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I wasn't enjoying doing 100 minutes of cardio. I wasn't enjoying being that aggressive into a calorie deficit, and I wasn't enjoying it because the reality of the situation was that the photo shoot itself just wasn't fucking inspiring me. And whilst it may inspire a lot of people to start with, maybe who are doing it for the first time, which is absolutely unreal. I think if you can dedicate yourself to it, and that is something that you truly want to do, then cool, absolutely do it. And I hope what this podcast has done is it has at least made you aware of what potentially is going to happen post photo shoot, and understanding that how it is that you feel and the consistency that you've got with your training, and how you feel after a workout, how you feel eating and training, or eating nutritionally dense foods, or getting outside and getting fresh air, and maybe even doing that, spending it with friends and family, or drinking more water. And again, the energy levels that you get from going through that process are far more important than the actual result itself. It's actually far more important than the photo shoot that you're going to do, than the show you're going to do. So again, to bring it back, if it's a photo shoot that you're doing, or it's stepping on stage that you're doing, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. But late last year, it just, again, I had that goal, and I was just like, why am I doing this again? Because again, like I said, I felt like, because what I was seeing on social media, and as the guy who was an online fat loss and lifestyle transformation coach, I felt like that was something that I had to do, but I wasn't happy doing it. So then I was like, what example am I setting then to my clients? What example am I setting to social media? What example am I setting to the world that, yeah, whilst it's cool and I've shown that I can do that because I've done it multiple times before, I wasn't actually doing it for me. And I think that's something else that people fall victim to as well, is that when it comes to weight loss, and it comes to photo shoots, when it comes to bodybuilding shows, because those are the things that I'm talking about specifically, but it might be, I don't know, fitting into an older dress. It might be, yeah, it might be a scale weight, or it might be a measurement. Whatever it is that's inspiring you to want to lose weight, outside of health reasons, of course. I think we get caught up in a lot about how it looks on the outside, how it looks to people on social media, and we don't often stop to ask ourselves, well, what does it actually fucking mean to us? And I had that moment. I had that moment last year where I was training for this photo shoot, was setting my sights on this photo shoot. I'd lost 5 kilos already, and I wasn't really sort of enjoying the process, and I thought to myself, well, I don't actually really fucking like this, and who am I doing it for? Because I wasn't doing it for me. So now I sit here as someone who a lot more intuitively approaches his calories, who a lot more intuitively approaches his training and exercise, and I encourage my clients to do the same. And with that, what we've been able to create is a much more enjoyable experience with nutrition. It's a much more enjoyable experience with exercise, and it gives people the opportunity to, if they don't want to show up on that day from a training or nutrition perspective, They don't fucking have to. Because we can appreciate that life happens. We can appreciate that the day sometimes gets away from us. Work gets busy, or you're being asked to do overtime, or I don't know, the kids are sick, or you've had to take them to a club, or you get a flat tire and you can't get to the gym. That was one of the that was one of the things that popped up in a check-in this week. We appreciate that life happens. So in order to make fitness and nutrition work for us, we have to understand that happens. And when you're training for a photo shoot, when you're training for a scale weight specifically, when you're training for a measurement or step on stage or whatever it is that you're seeing that's incredibly impressive for about a day, doesn't take into consideration how your life actually operates, and doesn't take into consideration how it is that you actually feel on any of those given days, because all you've got is this end goal, which in my experience no one's ever consistent with 95% of the time after they've done it, unless that's obviously your job, unless that's obviously your sport. So be aware of what it is that you're doing, and be aware of why it is that you're actually doing that as well. Because again, like I said, I think the fitness industry has a lot to answer for when it comes to that. And again, I'll double down on it. I've said it already. I don't actually think it's scale weight that you give a fuck about. I really don't. I think it's the feelings of what you think you're going to feel when you achieve it. And I don't want to be the one who's a little bit of a wet blanket, but I have to be honest. You're setting yourself up for failure if you're basing your feelings and your happiness on a number that it's going to tell you on a scale. Because life's about more than that. And we coach differently here. We coach. Oh, hi, Raymond. Are you coming up? Come on in. Oh, he's got his quiet meals on. Come on in. Hi. You were actually, you interrupted Dad at a very, very important point. One that he's actually forgot that he's making. What was I speaking about there? Oh, here he is. Hey, bud. Go on in. Go on in. Look at the laptop. Go on in. What's this? What's that? He's here. Don't know if you caught a few words there. I digress. Again. Can you see his ears broken off the video there? Hey, bud. Aye. So, yeah, I think it's very, very important when you're choosing a scale weight or something that you think that you want to achieve, that you're going into depth about why it is that you actually want to achieve that. And is that something that's suiting you? Because again, like I said, what we coach here on the TFG team is not the outcome, but the journey and the process. The ability to be able to open up your wardrobe and go and look at every item of your clothes and go, I can wear that. And I can wear that with confidence, and I can wear that with happiness, as it were. Confidence is the word, and not feel like you have to cover up, or not feel like you have to be aware of how it is that you how you look, etc. Because of how you feel is so strong. You don't give a fuck about how you look. You're so sure in who it is that you are and how it is that you feel that you can rock any fucking item of clothing in your wardrobe that you want. Or as a parent who looks at their kids and goes, and I do it, I'm not a parent, but I do it with Raymond. Like, Raymond will be doing something, and I'll be looking at him and I'll go, you know, that sort of, I don't know, that warm, fuzzy feeling that you feel where you just look at them and you go, oh, like they're so fucking brilliant. Maybe not a good example to compare my cat to your kids, but that's the closest thing that I've got. But what we coach is the ability to be able to bottle up that feeling and lean into it whenever you fucking want through good exercise. And when I say good exercise, I mean exercise that you actually enjoy showing up for, or eating nutritionally dense foods because we appreciate what it gives us outside of just a calorie deficit. It helps us show up as the most motivated, confident, upbeat version of our friends, family, but most importantly, our fucking selves. Because when we are at our best, our lives are at our best, or our ability to show up for our lives is at its best. Because again, we appreciate that life happens. So making sure that you are the most confident, upbeat, motivated version of yourself to be able to take on life, that right there, that's what we aim for. Innit, bud? Oh well, he's gone. So, as an online fat loss and lifestyle transformation coach, should I really be saying that I don't really give a fuck about how much scale weight you lose? I don't. I really don't. And hopefully, after listening to this, you can appreciate why I don't give a fuck about how much weight you lose, but the process by which we go about doing that. Because with a lot of my clients, whilst we sort of focus on pillars of weight loss, shall we say, by the time we've got through it, and we kind of look at scale weight again, we go, oh, you've actually lost more than what you said you wanted to achieve, and it not even be like, and it not even be a thing that we overly focus on. I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I'm painting my coaching experience with me in a good way here, given that I'm an online fat loss coach and we actually don't really give too much of a fuck about scale weight, because we generally don't. We just have the best time with it. So I suppose with the point of this podcast, what I want you to do, or I want you to be aware of, is why it is that you're actually fucking doing things. Like, is it for you? What are you proving to yourself, which is important, but what are you standing to gain from the end result? Is it something substantial? Is it a routine and structure that you can run with long term that helps you show up to be the best version of yourself for life? Or is it just massaging your ego? Because there's a lot of that on social media. There's a lot of coaches on social media who are doing that with their clients, I can tell you. So ask the question and be sure of it, because it's massively, massively fucking important. Okay. Any other points I wanted to make? No. Just be sure, folks. That's all I want for you. Just be sure on why it is that you're doing something, because that's important. And at least if this doesn't change your mind about what it is that you're achieving scale weight for, like I said, does losing weight put us in a stronger position health wise? Yes, it does, if you have a lot of weight to lose. But does that directly correlate to happiness? It doesn't. And that's something that's not measured. That's something that's not, like, there isn't a number for that. There's just a feeling. And maybe having listening to this, something will come to mind where in that moment you felt really happy, or you felt really confident, or you felt really sure in what it is that you're doing, and that you'll be able to think about what the end result of that feeling was. But I bet you'll be able to think back on what that end result was and wish that those feelings were the most prevalent things in your life, not the result that you got. And that's what we're inevitably aiming for here. That's truly what we want. So, do I give a fuck about how much scale weight you lose? No. Do you give a fuck about how much scale weight you lose? Not truly. So drop it. Leave it. So, if you've got this far through it, I do appreciate you listening to this one, folks. Episode number 9, done and dusted. Again, should I be saying that as a fat loss coach? Maybe not. Raymond, thank you very much for stuff. Oh, he's there. Hey, bud. He might be in the next one. Who knows? But be sure to let me know if you enjoyed this, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.